Hi, this is Steve Stefanides with Coastal Breeze News, and it's the third interview that we do with potential council candidates here for the 2024 election. And Becky Irwin is kind enough to come in today and meet with us and go over some questions. Becky, you want to give about a 2-minute synopsis about who you are?
Sure. I'm Councilor Becky Irwin. I've been on the Marco Island City Council since 2020 when I was elected. And in my career, what I do is I'm a realtor on Marco Island, and I'm also a volunteer at many organizations on Marco. I've lived here full-time on the island since 2013. I've lived in Florida full-time since 1980 in South Florida. So I was raised here, and I know the area very well. I have deep roots in this community. We lived here when I was a kid in 1981, 82, 83, and I grew up in Fort Lauderdale and moved back here in 2013. I have 2 kids who are grown, and I have 5 grandchildren that I'm very proud of, and I love them very much.
Thank you for that.
There you go.
Okay, here we go. You ready?
Sure.
You buckled in?
Okay.
All right, now. All right. What are the top 3 issues, in your opinion, that are facing residents today, and how would you approach them?
Great question. Top 3 issues would be, I think, from what I'm hearing and from what I see, I think water quality and the environment are pretty much top of mind for everyone. And let me tell you, that's not new. That has always been the case. And because we are such a destination for people who come from other towns, other states, not only for vacation, but to live here. And as a realtor, I do see that very much so. When people are coming to invest in our city in Marco Island, they're very interested in the water quality, as well as when people come to visit and they're staying at the Marriott or at somewhere else, they're always interested in playing in the water at the beach, going boating, fishing off the dock. So water quality is always very important. Now, I'm a master naturalist. I have that designation, and so I do know a little bit about water quality. I'm not the foremost expert, but I do know a little bit. And we have a very unique environment. We are at the end of the Everglades, basically. We are the delta of the River of Grass. So we have a lot of what comes off of the continent, basically the state of Florida, comes down into where we are. So we have a very unique, that's why we have all the mangrove forests that we have. That's why our water is a little bit more turbid than, say, the East Coast or the Keys or the Bahamas. We don't have that crystal clear water. We have a lot of nutrients that are in our water. So sometimes it's hard to understand that our water is a little bit different, but we do have some human factors going into that we can control. So there are 2 aspects to the water, and I think that it's important to note that our water has a lot of natural ingredients in it, and also there are human elements that we can control with that. And so what we have been doing over the past 4 years on the City Council is we've spent millions of dollars upgrading our swales and some of the sources of that human interaction with the water. So we've upgraded our swales. We have invested in the culverts over by Fruit Farm Creek down on the way to Goodland, putting the water through underneath the road. We have invested in the street sweeper to get some of that debris off the roads before it goes down into the waterways. And we are continuing to do a lot more than that. We have some other initiatives coming to us that I'm excited to watch and see if those are some implementable ideas, because I know that the community is passionate about it, and so am I. That's one. I don't know how far you want to go.
Well, 3. That's okay. 3 top issues.
Well, I think water and the environment are very, very important, and the environment includes. Let's also include with that our native species like our gopher tortoises, our sea turtles, and our burrowing owls. So everybody loves them, and I think we actually, even though we see some sad, fatalities of those animals, sometimes I think we as a community are very cognizant of their existence, and we try to make sure that we're always aware that they're being protected. And as a city, we care very much about protecting those species. I think over-tourism, people are always talking about over-tourism, and if that is indeed a thing. I can tell you that last year, or this year, according to the TDC, the Tourist Development Council, tourism was down a little bit. And it's funny because we saw a big spike. You know, Steph, I ran 4 years ago and there were 12,000 voters plus on Marco. Now, 2 years later, there are 14,000 voters on Marco. That's a lot of new people registering to vote on Marco Island. After COVID, we had a big influx of people moving here, So a lot of our people who live on Marco have only been here for 1, 2, 3 years or so. And I feel like that is, in the past, we've had years when very few people have moved here. So we had a big influx after COVID of people coming, and it kind of took everybody by surprise. So keeping an eye on the balance between tourism and people who live here, and now new residents who just moved here and might have a different perspective of what that means, or living in a tourist community, which we are and always have been, feels like. So those are some things.
Okay. Second question for you. How would you propose the city adjust the budgeting process that we utilize? Understanding that great majority of the people are gone during the summer months, in which you guys undertake the arduous task of doing budgeting. Okay.
Yes.
How would you propose that we do something to make or bring in the people for more input, on the budget?
So are you proposing that we take the summer off? Because people aren't here in the summer? Because anything we do in the summer, I guess we could say that they're not here for it. So I don't see a problem with doing the budget in the summer.
You don't?
No.
Okay. All right.
I don't. I don't see a problem. If people want to be involved, and people are involved, they can be as involved as they want. We do have, we have every single meeting is on Zoom, or not Zoom. It's televised. People can watch it. People can call us. All of our telephone numbers are public. People can call my cell phone anytime and discuss it. But as far as changing that, we are a seasonal, but we still have a business to run. So we're running the business of the city.
The city is a business.
It is, absolutely. We're running the city, and we're elected to represent the people. We're not a direct democracy. We're a republic, so we're representing the people. So get in touch with us if you have something that you wanted to directly address with the city budget.
Okay. Are the city advisory committees effective the way they are structured today? And if you give me some ideas, your ideas of how you might adjust them, if you feel that they need any adjustment.
So the city advisory committees, I was on the beautification committee for 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, or 2017 really, because it came in after the election. And it was an interesting, exercise, because with all government, the wheels move slowly. With government, the wheels move slowly, and that's a good thing and a bad thing, because once things get going in the government, a lot of times they stay in the government. And so you want to make sure that things are properly vetted all the way through. And I think that that's the point of that is the point of the committees. It's to give the citizens an opportunity to have direct input into the government and into the city council. They're advisory to the staff. The staff recommends to the council. So they're not really advisory to the council directly. All right, so people might not understand that. That's why the staff is there at every single meeting. It's so that they can give the staff the input that they need from the community. So they come from all corners of the community. They come in and they advise the staff on how the community feels. So that actually is a great opportunity for people who are passionate about some things like the budget. There is a budget committee, and they should be talking to the budget committee, to the the committees about their parts in the budget if there's something specific that they want to see, like if there's something in the beautification, if there's something in waterways. Those are the proper channels to come through to get to the staff, and then the staff comes to the city council.
Okay. How can the city more effectively communicate with the residents?
That's a great question. I'm really glad that you asked that question. The city has a good opportunity to communicate directly with the residents. I'm in favor of some sort of a one-way communication, such as a newsletter of some kind, some sort of a newspaper edition, something in the newspaper, or something out there in print that people can refer to. We do have a great team at the city in different departments who put out social media, we have an app, the My Marco app, and so people can download the My Marco app and get fresh, up-to-the-date information. But I feel like there really is an opportunity to go old school and go straight to the people and what they read, and they can leave it on their tabletop, and they can see, here's what happened at this last meeting. Here's how you can get involved. Here's what's going on at the park. Here's what's doing this and that. Like, a lot of good things happen at our city, a lot of them. And we have the opportunity to do that. So I would love to do that.
Okay. Another hot button issue. Excuse me. Another hot button issue that we constantly bubbles up to the top. What can be done to make code enforcement more effective?
Well, I'd like to know what the only thing.
If you feel it's okay.
That question is interesting because I'm not sure where code enforcement enforces the height of grass. It enforces
a lot of things.
So where is it not being effective, I guess, would be my question, in the sense of what are you specifically?
Well, you hear from the constituents. You never hear any complaints.
I see the police reports.
Yeah.
I do see the police reports and what it seems like we're enforcing what is being reported, or
so
what they
you
go
feel
around.
It's pretty effective.
I don't know what the exact question is, though. I mean, if it's way too broad for me to answer specifically. So
okay, then we'll move on.
I think that here's my answer to anybody who's watching who's interested is, if you find something that's out of code, then I think you should report it to the code enforcement and or the police and or the correct department that it would be addressed by. Absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Let me see here. The next one goes right down your alley, because you are someone that's been very involved with the environment and issues that come up with it. It's a three-part question, so I won't bang them all off at once, okay? We'll do them one at a time.
However you feel best.
So to make it easier for you. Okay, number one, the first portion of this, the environment is really an economic driver.
Absolutely.
On this island.
100%.
Okay, and so as of September 2024, the disorientation of the crawls that we get from the little turtles headed back, or headed to, eventually their environment, which is the Gulf of Mexico. We're listed as have the most disoriented amount of crawls, within Collier County. And so reports that they generate, and you've probably seen the latest one. What can be done to help solve that issue? Okay,
that's a great question. I actually got that question from Micah, and I researched it, and that's not true. We are not the number one disoriented. That is Vanderbilt Beach. We were number one for predation. So raccoons and coyotes.
Predators.
Yes.
Eating the eggs.
Yes, exactly. We were number one for predators because we're more natural. So we were number one for predators. And actually this year was considered to be a great year for the sea turtles. They had over 85,000 presumed to enter the Gulf of Mexico. 85,000 hatchlings entered the Gulf of Mexico.
How did that compare to other counties that.
I didn't look that up. I don't know. Maybe you know. Do you know?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
you're pretty up on all this stuff.
I didn't look at that.
Okay, no,
I could look it up.
No.
I'd be happy to. But there is a report. There's actually a Collier County report, and that was the report. So that was 2023. Okay.
2023.
Yeah.
Okay. B, second portion of this. Would you endorse the city buying its own conservation lots to protect burrowing owls and sea turtles?
Sea turtles?
No, tortoises. I'm sorry.
Go for tortoises.
Go for tortoises.
Yeah, and I have actually. I voted for all of those conservation collier lots that we bought, or we didn't buy them. Conservation Collier bought them, and I support that. As far as us buying the lots, I don't think the city has the budget for that, but I know Conservation Collier does.
But
so
would you be in favor of the city
putting millions of dollars? And do you know how much a lot costs, Marco?
Yeah.
I do too. I don't know that the city residents want us spending that
so
kind of money.
No.
It would be, no, I wouldn't spend the city's money on it necessarily, but it depends on the terms. They always have to have it in writing. Let me see what the terms are, and then I can tell you if I'm in favor of it.
That's
but
fair
I'm much more in favor of having Conservation Collier that has multi-millions of dollars specifically to spend on conservation land, spending it on conservation land.
And we finally started to see some of that money roll back to the island.
Thank goodness. And they bought several lots, and we do now have quite a healthy preservation started for those gopher tortoises and owls and everything else that likes to share the burrows.
Okay. The third and last portion of this. Okay. Water quality.
Yeah.
It's always been an issue. In the last 4 years, you guys have been on top of that with different reports of one thing or another. Recently, the city opted to do quarterly testing versus monthly testing. Are you in favor of that change?
No, I think we're going back to monthly. Yeah, I think that's something that we are going back to. Yeah.
And when is that going to occur?
I'd have to research. I forget when it is, but I know that the city is in favor of monthly testing. Mm-hmm.
And that's been a vote.
And not a vote, but it's something that we don't need to vote on. That's not a council vote. That's something that can be done.
The Waterways Committee moved to go to quarterly testing.
Last I saw from Mike McNeese, I believe it was we're in favor of monthly testing.
Now moving back towards monthly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I'm in favor of monthly. So the answer to the question is I'm in favor of monthly testing. Of course.
The last portion of that. Okay. Should the public be notified? Should the bacteria levels indicate an unsafe environment to be swimming in? We've seen that throughout the county every once in a while.
Yeah.
The bacteria levels rise. Would you be in favor of notifying residents of that?
In what way?
Notifying them. You tell me how you would notify
Okay, well,
them.
that information is publicly available. On websites. There are websites that you can look at even right now and see what the bacteria are.
So the guy walking down onto the beach.
On the state, yeah.
He's not looking at a website.
So he might be, and he might want to be, but are you saying like signs? So we would have...
I'm asking you.
I've never seen that unless it was a problem. And Florida beaches, I don't know, have you seen that in Florida beaches? Yeah. Where they have an updated...
In Collier County.
Where? On the beach?
Throughout the beaches, yeah.
There's signs?
There have been signs, okay, when the bacteria levels reach it. Are you in favor of that?
Oh, sure.
Notifying people?
I'd be happy to. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Not you.
I mean, I'm not calling everybody, but I think that's a great idea. And if there is a public danger, we should absolutely alert the public.
Okay.
For sure. We should. Yeah, we should 100%. I was thinking there on the East Coast, there are rip currents. And so they'll have
different than bacteria.
We don't really have rip currents here. And that's what I would say. The only warnings that I've seen on beaches, unless there is a big event that it's like toxic to go in, which I don't know that we've had that scenario unless, well, we do have red tide. So sometimes the red tide might be something we would alert. Sure.
Okay. Last thing is we've seen an explosion of building, and there's been some concern about some of the new residential type building that's been going on, and the designs seem to be out of sync with what Marco was designed for, and that. Are you in favor of some type of another advisory committee or an architectural review committee looking at the design, the flavor of what's being built? This is just a question that somebody brought in.
Well, considering that the Deltona homes are almost all gone, so the original homes that the Mackle brothers built and designed are completely out of favor. Nobody's building those anymore. When the bigger boom came in, it was a very Mediterranean style, and that was in the 90s. And is that what you're referring to?
No.
Well, as the style of
you,
Marco?
You drive around the island.
I know. So now we've got this, what's called a coastal design, and it's more like white walls and black tile roofs and square.
Black tile roofs?
Gray, black tile roofs. You're seeing them. Have you seen them?
I've never seen a black tile roof.
I can show you some.
Okay, good.
But they're gray, dark gray, light gray, whatever. So is that what you're referring to? The new coastal style homes?
Somebody was talking about a home that was recently built on San Marco Road.
Oh, a very modern looking home.
Very, very
okay.
Miami.
Yeah.
Miami. Don Johnson type house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen a few of those houses go up, and I think they add interest and they keep us from being too cookie cutter. You know, I know there are people who don't want the neighborhoods to be cookie cutter and like that personal style being reflected. I think it's artistic, and I would not be in favor of limiting people's right to use their property in that way. I think it adds a lot of beauty and interest to the island, and some people aren't going to like it, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's called freedom. I like freedom. I'm here for freedom.
Well, we also have codes that say you can't be within.
For that, in that sense, I'm for freedom.
Kind of
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, what about final comments on your part? What would you like the people to know about who you are, okay, and how you see the future for the island itself? Give you about 2 minutes to do that and talk direct.
Well, as I mentioned before, I've been on Marco since the early 80s and then full-time since 2013. I have 4 generations of my family living here currently right now. My father is in his 70s, my daughter is in her 30s, and my granddaughter is 3 months old. So I have a broad perspective of people who live on Marco Island, people who are retired on Marco Island, people who work, and people who are just starting to grow up. I am very grateful to our schools for what they provide to our students, and the dedicated teachers, staff, everybody involved, the supporters of our charter schools and our Tommy Barfield Middle School. I am very excited about what they do and what they've provided as far as education for our kids. I know I was just at the NCH yesterday with Leadership Marco, and they said our demographics are changing. They're seeing our demographics changing and getting younger. And years ago, they only saw retirees. Now they're seeing people in their 40s, 50s, 60s. So change is a-coming. And now we in our 50s, I'm in my 50s, now I'm going to be in my 60s and 70s. So it's a fluid thing. But as a realtor, I'm also seeing a lot more people coming here and buying in their 40s and 50s. So I think that the demographics of Marco being exclusively a retirement community are changing and shifting. But that said, everybody needs to be respected in their home, and we are here. This is all of our home, and I think everybody deserves that respect, and I think that everybody deserves to have a voice in their government, and I am proud to be part of the government, and I listen. I do listen to people. I'm out in the community every day. I was talking to somebody, and I said, I've been in every single condo building on this island. In my job, I've been able to see in every single condo building in the South. I get out there, I'm with people all day long, every day, and I love it. I couldn't love it more. I walk on the beach, I do videos, I share my life with people who a lot of times can't be here, and I love that we have our seasonal our seasonal island. Actually, a long time ago, I made peace with season versus off season. The way I see it, it's a very different energy. And when the people are here in season, that is a very, very high energy time for me. I love it. I don't mind that we have a lot of people here. It doesn't really bother me because I've said this is when people are having a great time. Do you know that our crime rate goes down in season? Our crime, according to the police reports, is actually lower in season. And I feel like that we all get along very well in season when people come down here, whatever you see on social media, whatever bickering, when you come down and look at people in the face, they are always nice on Marco Island. They are always nice. They are always polite. They always say hello. If you're out boating, people always wave. That's what is special about Marco Island. That's how I see the future.
Well, thank you, Becky.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time this morning. This is what is this? The third of 6 people that are running for council for 4 open seats.
Yeah.
And Becky is one of those, and we appreciate her time here this morning and her frank discussions, how she sees.
I call him like I see him, Steph. You know that.
Oh, yes. Now, anyhow, thanks very much for tuning in today, and we will move on to our next one and bring it to you live. Thank you.